Hey guys! Okay, it's the notes for the last paragraph in your paper. We're almost done. So here's what's going to happen. Today, you need to fill out your notes as you watch this video. So if you don't have a note paper from the substitute, go get one. Pause this video and go get the fill in the blank note paper from the substitute. Second, you need to remember that your rough draft is going to be due on Friday. So tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow we'll be in class together back in my room like normal. I'm going to go over how to make a works cited page. I'm going to teach you how to do that, and then you'll have most of class to finish up everything you need to finish up. Finish up any of your paragraphs that aren't done. Finish up your works cited page. Look everything over, and then Friday in class, you're going to spend the whole day editing with a partner. So it's really important that you finish because otherwise you're going to sit in a corner by yourself while everybody else edits their papers. So again, you'll have most of today and then all of tomorrow to finish up your whole paper, but your rough draft is due on Friday at the beginning of class. So be ready. That's your last big thing you have to have done before Thanksgiving break. You're going to have a grade for your rough draft book that I will grade over Thanksgiving break. And then after Thanksgiving break, we're going to format everything beautifully and make your final draft. Okay, so let's begin. Here's how you make a conclusion paragraph. There's a couple of steps. Step 1, this is really easy. You need to start with a transition phrase. It can be just a phrase, like ultimately in conclusion, or it can be an entire sentence. Step 2, briefly summarize some of the points you made. So try taking the first sentences of every body paragraph, your topic sentences, and then rewrite your main points in 1 or 2 sentences, paraphrase them. You want to avoid summarizing your points exactly as you wrote them. That's something that I see a lot. Kids will kind of just copy and paste their topic sentences at the bottom. That's boring. Don't just rewrite something word for word the same way. So you want to take all those topic sentences and kind of squeeze them into 1 or 2 sentences and then paraphrase them, rewrite them in a different way. You could also mention or reference any really interesting facts that you found, but don't just say it a second time word for word. Step 3, restate your thesis in different words. The key part of that is different words. Your thesis is the main point of your paper, the most important point of your paper. So it's really important that you state it at the beginning and then you state it again at the end to remind your reader that that's the thing you've been arguing about the entire time. You've been trying to convince them of this main point the whole time. So let's read this example thesis and then how you would restate it. So the first one, we're going to pretend this would be the thesis in your introduction paragraph. And the second one would be how you could take that thesis and then restate it in your conclusion paragraph at the end. So here's the first one. There should be more gun restrictions because thousands of deaths each year in America are related to gun violence. Current background checks are insufficient to protect the general population, and people can protect themselves effectively in different ways. Okay, so here's how, let's go back to that. Here's how we could take that thesis and we could reword it, but include it still in our conclusion paragraph. Ultimately, because background checks don't stop criminals from purchasing guns and gun safety should be more strictly enforced, lots of gun-related deaths could be avoided by adding more gun restrictions. People may be concerned about protection, but there are many ways that people can defend their homes and families without using lethal force. So I kind of touched on the main points about protection and about restrictions, but I reworded it and added some other details there. So let's move on to step 4. So this is important. This is the most important step, and this should be several sentences. You want to end with something important or thought-provoking. And there are 3 different types of thought-provoking responses you can choose from. So for step 4, you get 3 options. Option 1. You can make an appeal to emotion or an appeal to logic. Remember, we learned about pathos, ethos, and logos. So you can make an appeal to emotion or logic. So you might emphasize what the right thing to do is. Or you could emphasize the action or conclusion that logically makes sense. And sometimes you could do both. Here's an example. If people don't stop using fossil fuels, the environment will continue to become polluted, animals will lose their habitats, and weather trends will continue to become more dangerous. Supporting energy-efficient cars is not only the logical choice, it is the morally the right thing to do. So in that one, I made an emotional appeal, but I also tried to make it a logical appeal. Okay, if that's not the option you want to try, you could try option 2. This is a call to action. And the call to action is when you are literally calling on your readers to act in some way. So you are asking your reader to do or not do something, and then you explain how the issue affects them personally or why it's important. So again, you're asking them to do something or not do something, but then you're also explaining how it affects them personally or why it's important. So here is what option 2 would look like. Because obesity is a growing problem that affects children across America, the general public should support legislation to control the nutritional value of food served by in schools. A little typo there. Served in schools. Okay, so I mentioned that it affects children in America, so that's who it affects. And then I told them what they should do. They should support legislation or laws that would enforce that food being served in schools has good nutritional value. All right, and then finally, you have option 3. And option 3 is you could end with a powerful thought, quote, or question. Now, this example, it's important to remember that this example is not an entire conclusion paragraph. This would come after you've already restated your thesis and main points. So this would be the last couple of sentences in the paragraph, but this is not the entire paragraph. So again, here could be step 4, option 3, ending with a powerful thought, quote, or question. Here's the example. Finally, when it comes to fossil fuels, America needs to follow in the footsteps of one of our most famous presidents, Theodore Roosevelt, who once said, quote, "Cherish these natural resources, cherish the history and heritage of the earth for your children and your children's children. Don't let man's greed strip the earth of resources." All right, so those are your 4 steps. So now you should have your notes all filled in so you can look at those notes and all the different examples as you begin to write your conclusion paragraph. So please remember that all of your 5 paragraphs, your intro, your 3 body paragraphs, and your conclusion paragraph are due on Friday in class, and you'll be trading with more than one partner to edit their paper. It's also important to remember that you need to go back and add in one of your body paragraphs, you need to address a counter argument. So for example, it could be body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, or body paragraph 3, but in one of those, you need to add a couple sentences saying somebody or some people may disagree with the point, this point, however, they're wrong because, right? If you can use statistics to support your argument, that's the best, but that doesn't always apply. All right, get to work, use your time wisely. I want to hear a good report from the sub again, and I'll see you guys in class tomorrow.